Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast. This podcast is ran by two ladies who play games, mumble profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast covers topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome back to the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jenn.
And my name is Emily. I just watched Jenn mouth the whole disclaimer, which, thank God I said it properly this time, otherwise she would have had to do it.
And yeah, Emily doesn't know this because she's usually like looking off into the distance when she says it every episode, but I pretty much say every episode. So.
Do you actually? Because I have to climb deep in my brain to remember everything, so I'm like...
Yeah, it's fine.
That's fun. Oh yes, another Christmassy week come and gone.
Woohoo!
We're into another Christmassy week. What have you been up to, Jen? Have you done anything that feels very under the mistletoe? Since that's our theme for today this week.
Not particularly. I've done some Christmas shopping. I've watched some Christmas movies. So getting into the spirit. I mean, it's coming up quick. Like, I can't believe we're recording this. Like, that's crazy to me.
It is crazy. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Christmas just is coming up so fast this year, and I lost my mind and did a majority of my shopping in November, so I'm in the clear for the most part. But even then, like, it's like I blink, just the weeks are just like speeding by, and I'm like, is this what grown-ups meant when I was little, where they were like, oh, you know, everything passes in the blink of an eye? Because I could have sworn it was just Halloween.
I know. This whole year has felt insane. Like, I don't even know. Crazy. But I don't know if I've asked you this yet, Em, but I'm so curious, and I want to take a moment to talk about it on the pod before we get into our episode. What is on your Christmas wish list this year? Because I love to know.
My wish list? Like for something that I want?
Yeah.
Oh, gift cards for everything, homie. Like, I love shopping, but I hate spending money, so I've just been telling people to buy me gift cards for any store they want, really. Like, I don't know. Amazon, Etsy, Winners. I'll take a Home Depot one if somebody wants to get me a Home Depot gift card. I'm open.
Honestly, they got some good stuff at Home Depot. So
I can find a way.
It's true. It's true.
What about you, Jen? Do you have anything specific on your wish list, or are you kind of in the gift card zone that I'm in?
I'm in the gift card zone. One thing that's like I want to buy for myself, and I'm like really contemplating if I'm gonna do it. Mm-hmm. We'll tell you when we get back in January if I've done it or not. But I want, and I think I've just been influenced, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I want irrationally the AirPod Maxes, the like fucking $800 over the ear headphones from Apple.
You and I talked about this, not on the pod and definitely not recently, but you've been wanting these for a while.
I have, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, I already have AirPods, so I'm like, I don't really need them because I feel like I just wear my AirPods all the time.
Yeah.
And I also have other over-the-ear headphones. In fact, I have like two pairs. One that I use for the podcast, and then one that's like a Bluetooth one that I use for other things. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm like, but they're cute and I kind of want them.
Here's the thing, though. And this is why I'm not a good person to talk to about buying things, is that if you've thought about it this long and you still find them cute and you can still picture yourself wearing them, I say go for it.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna wait and see if like they go on sale for Boxing Day, and if they do, well, they might just have to go in the cart. It is what it is.
Forward to that update then, because I'm on team get them. But that's really funny that you're also rationalizing it, because I do the same thing in my brain. If there's something that I want, I'm like, well, I already own these random things, or I've done this a couple times where I'll buy like a substitute where like I'll be like, oh, but these are like close. So I'll just buy these because they're cheaper. But you know what? I don't want to do that anymore because even when you buy the substitutes because they're not the same, you still want the other thing.
I know. I caught myself doing that. I was honestly looking at like AirPod Max dupes or whatever, and like there's some that like look okay, but I'm just like, I feel like even if I buy these, I'm still gonna want the real things, and I'm like, it's not gonna satisfy it because I'm like,
it's also,
even if they look similar,
it's an experience
I'll
too,
know.
though, that you're looking for. It's not just the product; it's the experience.
Yeah, like, I don't know. All the girlies on TikTok just look so cute. Going for their little walks wearing their AirPod Maxes at the airport. Like,
you're right, though.
I don't know.
They do look really good.
It's irrational. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not a need. It is fully a want. And, like, an expensive want. Because I'm like, $800 headphones. I don't need that. But I kind of do.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
But I kind of do.
I think I haven't found anything yet that I would want to buy myself for Christmas. Like, last year I did do something similar to that where, like, for Christmas I gave myself a gift with, like, Boxing Day sale stuff. But there's not really anything I'm keeping an eye out for this year. I think I'm just, like, out shopped where I'm kind of in that, like, that middle phase between, you know, giving gifts and getting gifts where I don't really know what's going on. But catch me on the last week of December and I might be the new owner of something cool that I don't know about yet.
It's true. And I also feel like me and you both kind of were going through our like spendy shopping girl era earlier in March this year where like we both, I feel like, dropped money, cash dollars on a bunch of unnecessary shit. And like, will I ever recover? Probably not, but that's fine.
Listen, I am now a very fashionable cowgirl. I'm not wearing any of that stuff right now because it's cold outside, but catch me next summer.
I know. I bought sparkly boots for my bachelorette party. They literally arrived like 3 hours after I left for it, so I didn't get to wear them. And I can't get tickets for another Eras Tour show because I went opening night in Arizona, but I want to go to either the Vancouver or Toronto show, but I can't get tickets. So
yeah,
I have nowhere to wear these now. So now I'm going to need to find an event to wear them.
You just wear them to work. You're like, today I'm fashionable and sparkly, and that's what you do.
Like, they're very bedazzled. They are definitely not a work shoe.
I love them. You showed me them the day after your bachelorette when I got to see them, but they are very cute.
Right? And I kept getting ads for them on Instagram for like 2 months before my bachelorette party. And then like a month before, because originally I was going to like make my own bedazzled boots and I didn't finish that project. And then so I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to order them. And then they didn't arrive in time. It was so depressing.
Very sad. Yeah, I definitely went through a big spending phase at the beginning of the year, but it's now the end of the year, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. And then in a few months, it'll be the start of a new year, and I can buy a lot of things that I don't need.
Same. I love that for us.
Oh my god. Yeah, we should spin our wheel of questions, and I can again ask you some under the mistletoe questions.
All right, spin away.
That was a little clunky. Have you ever smooched somebody under the mistletoe?
I have, unfortunately. It was with my current husband.
Oh, well, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, husband number one.
Husband number one.
It was our first Christmas together, and this was in 2013, so, like, you know, I was living that just girly things dream, and I was like, we need to get a picture.
I forgot about that.
It was my life. I'll never forget. So I was like, we need to get a picture kissing under the mistletoe. So literally the first time I ever met like his extended family, because this Christmas party was like at his aunt's house, and we had got this picture taken there, and his aunt is taking the picture, and when I tell you, that was a very embarrassing way to be introduced to the family. I'm like, okay, wait, but like, we need a mistletoe. Like, can you take this picture for us?
So wait, was the mistletoe already there, or did you make this happen? Like, did you bring the mistletoe with you and you were like, "Ooh, we should hang the mistletoe here"?
I want to say the first, but unfortunately it's the latter. I know. Hey, listen, I was embarrassing. What can I say?
That is so funny, but also R.I.P.
Like, I was making that shit happen. I was like, I want this photo. I'm bringing my own mistletoe just in case they don't have one.
You're a go-getter. I don't know why you picked your aunt's house and not your parents' house, but...
Well, yeah, I don't know either. The logic wasn't logicking, but... I don't know. I had a cute little outfit I had just gotten. It was like a cropped red knit sweater with a skater skirt and tights and my combat boots.
Ooh, very 2013.
And I had a bow in my hair.
Yep. I think I have this picture in my head because I knew you at the time, but that was like... But for you, like a sweater, a skater skirt with tights, and like some sort of like skatery shoe and a bow, that was like your outfit for like 2 years.
It was my look. And I'm pretty sure you were with me when I bought the sweater and the skater skirt.
I mean, probably. So. I was with you like 24/7 pretty much, so. Except for at this party, which I did not go to. But no, what I find funny about this, though, is that in your brain, you weren't like, oh, photo shoot with just me and this person in a tripod. You were like, no, family get together.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just like, it's gonna be cute. It's gonna be festive. We're gonna slay. And then I'm gonna post it on Instagram.
I love that. It would have made a cute Instagram photo, though. I feel like I've seen this picture before, but I just can't picture it in my head right now. So I'll have to, if you still have it up, I'll have to go for a cruise and see if I can find it.
I think I've archived it, but I can send you the photo because I do still have access to it.
Because I'm like a 50-50 on if I've seen this photo already.
Maybe we'll post it on the Instagram. Just so you can all relish in my embarrassment for me.
I can't wait. See, whereas with me, I've never kissed under a mistletoe. For me, I literally could not think of a time in my brain at any get-together I'd ever been at, like even as a kid, there ever being a mistletoe. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's made up. Like, or they do that in England. Like, I don't think they do that here.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's not quite as common here in Canada, at least, as it is, like...
in the other parts
places,
of the world.
But
that's the thing. I really have no idea if it is popular in other parts of the world either. Like, just as a kid, I remember thinking about it, or like a teenager, and I was like, that feels made up. I don't think that's real.
Well, it's like a movie thing, right? Like the girl always like, I don't know.
A Hallmark
that's
movie
what
thing?
In my head. I was like, that's a cute romantic movie thing that I'm making happen for me and my new boyfriend.
You always have been very confident, though, in strange ways, so that checks out for you.
It's the overconfidence for me.
Maybe it's that. That's really funny. Okay, let's spin for our next question. So then, have you or do you hang up mistletoe in your own house now?
No.
Me either. I don't even know where I would find that, if I'm going to be honest. I don't even think I've seen in store a mistletoe. I think people make
they're an invasive species, I believe. Like, they grow on like trees and stuff and like leach their nutrients. So
and then we kiss under them for good luck? How does that happen?
There's like a whole history of it. I was reading because I struggled very hard to find a topic, and then it came to me in like a dream the other night, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I had a whole different story for this episode, and then I pivoted the other day.
Hopefully we're not covering the same story, but I guess we're going to figure that out.
I don't think we are.
But no, but like, that's a good point though. I never thought about that. It's like, here, baby, come with me to kiss under this poisonous, I'm assuming, invasive plant that sucks the nutrients out of trees, and that's going to bring us good luck while I suck on your face.
Well, from what I read, and I don't know if you're covering this, but from what I understand from the history of it is that it was like a rich people thing. So like rich people in like England like, it was like a status symbol to have like a mistletoe in your house because it was something that not a lot of people could get.
Oh.
And it started with servants, I guess. It was like a tradition started by servants in rich people's houses, where this is something that they would do for like, I think it's meant to be not good luck, but like fertility or something like that. So they would do that as like luck for fertility or whatever. I could be completely wrong, so don't quote me, but this is from what I remember. And then
kiss me under the baby leaves?
Pretty much. And then eventually it got adapted by like rich people. But it started as like a servant thing.
This is going to be a dark episode. I'm already feeling scared.
It's not what I'm covering, but
yeah. Let's see. Do I hang up mistletoe in my house? No. I have not. I have never. I don't know a single person who has, other than Jenn now in her husband's auntie's house. That would be the one person I know who's done that.
Yeah, only 1 year.
One year, once upon a time. Yeah, I got nothing else to add on that. I've literally never done that. Maybe I'll make a new tradition and do that, but not mistletoe. Maybe I'll hang like a mint plant from my roof or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe I'll hang a Christmas cactus from my roof.
Aw, that would be cute.
Kiss me under the Christmas cactus. I think that's really cute. We should do that.
Aw, new tradition. You heard it here first. Copyright Jenn and M 2023.
Exactly. All right, let's spin for our next question. So overall, what do you think of the tradition then? You've kind of touched on it, and it sounds like you've done a little bit of research now. So do you have any opinions on like it? Do you think that's something that more people should do, that less people should do? Are you I was going to say impassive. I don't think that's the right word. Do you not care either way, or?
Okay, I do have feelings and thoughts. So I don't know. Okay. I feel a little conflicted because I'm like, on one hand, it's just like a whatever tradition. Like, there's nothing like inherently wrong about it. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like there is the opportunity for it to turn unconsensual. And I've like, when I was trying to figure out a story for this, that was the first path I was going down. Like, you know, stories of like unconsensual times. And it seems like there is like instances of like unconsensual like touching or kissing that happens, and like obviously that's just not the vibe. So I don't know, I feel kind of indifferent on it, in the fact that I'm like, well, it's just like a cute old tradition. Like it's not that deep, unless you make it unconsensual, and then it is that deep. But fair. I kind of feel like if you're the kind of person who's gonna randomly kiss someone without their consent, you probably don't need the excuse of a mistletoe. You'd probably do that anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was about to say that the whole, like, the path that you were thinking, I also kind of was thinking myself when I was trying to research a topic for today. And funny enough, I saw a lot of crossing between unconsensual, like, physical actions between people under mistletoe. A lot of correlations between that and also people doing the countdown kiss at New Year's. Apparently there's a lot of like interlap in those two things because they're both around the holidays, and it's like, oh, if you're interested in somebody, like, you should do these types of things. But then it crosses over into what you just said, where it's like, well, if somebody doesn't want you to do that, you probably shouldn't. But at the same time, most people don't need an excuse to do things that they probably shouldn't be doing.
Exactly. And I feel like maybe they would use it as an excuse, but I'm of the mindset that if, like, I don't know. I mean, there is, like, crimes of opportunity, don't get me wrong. So, like, could be the case. But I feel like if you're the kind of person who is already going down that path, like, you're probably already going down that path. And, like, whether there's a mistletoe or not. If you're looking for
opportunities and you're going to use mistletoe or, like, New Year's as, like, your deciding factor, you probably need to be addressing other problems first.
Exactly. And if it's not the mistletoe, it's probably going to be something else.
That's a good one. It's never the mistletoe, it's the person.
Exactly. The mistletoe's not the problem. The people are. Unless the mistletoe is the problem, because apparently it is bad for the environment and
It
stuff.
is highly invasive, so both the mistletoe and the people can both be a problem. See,
yeah.
For me, like I said, I did my own research and kind of got the same conclusion as you did about that kind of stuff. But as far as like the other end of it, which is like, you know, purely decorative or tradition or whatever, I like the idea, but not the choice of plant. So like I did joke earlier about like hanging up mint, but that's like kind of a half joke. Like I do like the idea of maybe hanging up something else.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like it's cute and could be fun, you know, like as something for like you and your husband in your house. Be like, oh, like cute, the little mistletoe's hanging, like give you a little smooch every morning, you know, like the idea of it is cute. But like, I like your Christmas cactus idea. That sounds more fun.
Yeah,
update it for 2023.
Well, and two, they can live through pretty much anything. I have a Christmas cactus that I found at Walmart like 4 years ago, and it's still kicking around. I thought it was going to be dead like this summer, and it's still here, so.
That's impressive. All of my cacti and succulents die immediately. They just unalive themselves, so.
Well, I'd have a lot more plants right now if I didn't accidentally bring home a plant that was infected with a certain species of mite. So that went and ate like 5 of my plants, and now I'm 5 less plants than I was earlier this year.
Oh, so sad.
Very sad. Yeah, all right. Well, let's spin for our last question. That was a juicy spin. Would you ever kiss Santa underneath the mistletoe?
I mean, growing up, Santa was my parents, so probably not.
Here, it's fine. I'll paint you a picture, okay? Here's what's gonna happen. You're sleeping, okay? There's a little... You can hear some noises coming from your living room, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas Eve. What could be in my living room? You walk out there, and it's Santa. And you live alone. So this is nobody that you know, but Santa Claus, with his like red suit and everything, is standing in your living room underneath the mistletoe, and he looks at you with his rosy cheeks, and he's like, oh, I didn't expect you to be awake. And you're like, Santa, what are you doing in my house? And he's like, well, I came to bring presents. That's what I'm here for. Why are you here in your living room? And you like, Santa, why are you underneath my mistletoe?
And in his hand, he's got a brand new pair of AirPod Maxes.
And in his hands, he's like, I brought you these AirPod Maxes that you so desperately said that you wanted.
You know what? In that case, I'll give him a big old smooch. Come here, Santa. Let me plant one on you.
That is so
Santa's
funny.
like my sugar daddy in this scenario.
Pretty much, yeah. Actually, I was thinking about that. I was like, if we're like picturing a world where he's like a literal man who's not your family, and he's just like out here bringing gifts to people, but if you could hook him in as a sugar daddy, you'd be set for life.
You would be. You could move into the North Pole, live rent-free. Oh, dream.
Right? He'd be sleeping, apparently, for like 11 months of the year, because some Santa lore says that he works so hard on those 2 days and nights that he goes right to bed after Christmas. You wouldn't even have to see him most of the year. You could just be on vacation.
Honestly, I'd do it.
Right? I think he's a hard worker, and he deserves a little kiss on the cheek. So I'm gonna a little kiss on the cheek. So I'm gonna give Santa a smooch too.
Oh, perfect. Well, Santa will be so happy, and he's going to put up a mistletoe in your house. Oh. He's going to stand underneath the Christmas cactus and wait for you this year.
Quick, Emily, Santa's under the Christmas cactus. You have to find him.
Give him a kiss. Make sure you give him some tongue.
Make sure you give him a little gift. He's waited all year. So that brings us to the end of our round of questions. As we've already talked about, our theme today is under the mistletoe. So for that, I am going to give a brief description of what our theme is today. So, mistletoe is the common name.
Wow, you sound so enthralled.
Thanks. Okay, for reals though. Mistletoe is the common name for obligate hemiparasitic plants in the order of Santallalas. Whoa. They're attached to their host tree or shrub by a structure called the hostorium, though which they extract water and nutrients from the host plant. The name mistletoe originally referred to the species Viscum album, which is European mistletoe of the Santallaceae. Whoa. In the order of Santallaceae. I'm going to brush past those words. I saw them and thought I could say them, and I can't. They're in a Latin family of plants. Moving on. Is the only species native to the British Isles and much of Europe. A related species with red rather than white fruits, Viscum cruciatum, occurs in southwest Spain and the southern part of Portugal, as well as in Morocco and in North Africa and in southern Africa. The genus Viscum is not native to North America, but Viscum album was introduced to Northern California in the 1900s. So,
wow.
Basically, mistletoe does not grow in North America, and that's probably why we are confused by this tradition, but it looks like it grows in the Europe side of this planet, so.
Yeah. Well, with that amazing description in mind, would you like to tell us your mistletoe tale today, Emily?
I would love to. So I'm just going to preface with saying I know that it was either last year or the year before. I already covered a Christmas story where I believe I covered some of like why am I blanking on this?
Norse?
Not Norse, thank you. I was going to say Norwegian, and I was like, that's not right. Norse mythology that covers some of the Christmasier blah, 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 sides of things, and there is going to be some overlap today, but I'm going to go a little bit more into the actual history of some of this stuff. So here's your warning. If it sounds familiar, it is different, but it will be familiar.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't be the holiday season without the appearance of some of our favorite Yuletide flora, aka mistletoe. Think, if you haven't seen it, you can think of a Christmas cactus with unique flowers as well as colorful poinsettias. So we invite a whole variety of plants to adorn our homes and offices during the holiday season, especially mistletoe. Mistletoe is one of these well-known and adored plants. It also has a pretty dark past, and from an ancient symbol of fertility to somewhere where people try to sneak in a kiss, it has a spooky side of a parasitic plant with a malevolent mythology.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. So, it is believed that the beautiful golden bough that allowed the Greek hero Aeneas to travel to the underworld was mistletoe. So, Aeneas, who is the mythical hero of Troy and Rome, son of the goddess Aphrodite and Aeneas was a member of the royal line of Troy and cousin of Hector. He played a prominent part in defending his city against the Greeks during the Trojan War, being second only to Hector in ability. Homer implies that Aeneas did not like his subordinate position, and from that suggests arose a tradition that Aeneas helped to betray Troy to the Greeks. The more common version, however, made Aeneas the leader of the Troy survivors after Troy was taken by the Greeks. In any case, Aeneas survived the war, and his figure was thus available to the compilers of Roman myth. The association of Homeric heroes with Italy and Sicily goes back to the 8th century BC, where Homer's epic poems likely became written texts, and the Greek colonies founded there in that and the next century frequently claimed descendant from leaders in the Trojan War. Legend connects Aeneas too with certain places and families, especially the region of Latium. As Rome expanded over Italy and the Mediterranean, its patriotic writers began to construct a mythical tradition that would once dignify their land with antiquity and satisfy the Latin dislike of Greek cultural superiority. The fact that Aeneas, as a Trojan, represented an enemy of the Greeks, and that tradition left him free after the war, made him peculiarly fit for the part assigned to him, which is also known as the founding of Roman greatness. So, he basically is this guy who did a lot of stuff connecting Greek to Roman mythology, and was also known to travel to the underworld using mistletoe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So then, mistletoe also played a central role in a lot of Celtic rituals outside of the Greek symbolism that we just talked about. So, during one specific ritual, Celtic priests known as druids would climb up a sacred oak and remove mistletoe from the branches with a golden sickle, which sounds pretty cool, actually. Having a golden sickle is one cool thing, but also, like, sending your priests into trees to, like, harvest them with the golden sickle, that's pretty cool.
Sounds very bougie, and I would love to be on that level of wealth.
I just want to see it happen. Like,
I want to be in the tax bracket where I can make that happen.
Yeah, like, I want to be in the community that could make that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that you can come witness it, you know? I'm just thinking of you.
Yeah, witness it, be a part of it. I don't even care anymore.
We'll give you a sickle. You can harvest alongside the priests.
Perfect. I needed a hobby.
Amazing.
Right? So, after obtaining the plant, they would sacrifice 2 white bulls to the gods, and then brew an elixir with the mistletoe, believing that it would cure infertility as well as act as an antidote to all known poisons. Other cultures associate mistletoe with fertility because it's one of the only plants that bear fruit in the chill of winter. In Austria, mistletoe was placed in couples' beds to encourage good luck in conceiving a child. Ooh. Austria,
See,
not
I
Australia.
told you it was something with fertility. I knew it.
This is why I was like, I hope Jenny isn't gonna cover what I'm gonna cover for my story. I'm like, wow, crazy.
And who knew?
Who knew? Not me. So yeah, there's a history there of, like Jen said earlier, infertility and some other things, and people use it in a variety of ways. I truly don't know if brewing mistletoe is toxic or not, but it sounds like they used to do it. So who's to say?
They also used to put like fucking lead paint on their faces as makeup, so
that's fair. Yeah. So there's a few things they did that were a little questionable, but it does seem like there's a fairly consistent thing about mistletoe being used to help with infertility. So the 2 things we've got so far from history on my story is mistletoe can either help you travel to hell, or
that's a cool option.
Yeah, which is always a cool option, or it can help you with your infertility. So those are the 2 things we know right now.
Perfect. I mean, the devil hasn't made an appearance on the pod in a while, but I feel like traveling to hell is like devil appearance adjacent, you know?
It's kind of like trick-or-treating at his house, I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That would be fun.
Trick-or-treating at the devil's house? That could be
Yeah.
very entertaining.
Let's do that next year.
Okay, sounds good. I like this plan for us. So then, outside of the Celts, in Japan, the Ainu, or Anu, would chop up the mistletoe and place it in their fields to ensure a healthy crop. Welsh farmers also believe that a healthy crop of mistletoe is a good omen for the next year's yield. So, the Anu are also an ethnic group of related indigenous people native to northern Japan, as well as the land surrounding the Sea of Okhotsk, including Hokkaido Island, Northeast Honshu Island, Sakhalin Island, and Kuril Islands, the Kamcha Peninsula, and Karbovka Krai. They have occupied these areas since before the arrival of modern Japanese and the Russians, and these regions are often referred to as Ezo in historical Japanese texts. So I just wanted to touch on who they were, because I didn't know who they were at first when I was reading this, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to quickly describe that this basically means that a small group of indigenous Japanese people also used mistletoe along with, at the same time, Welsh farmers for crop-related reasons.
So it's multi-purpose.
It is multi-purpose. And then
crossing lines of borders and stuff.
That's the thing. Like, I did not know that mistletoe was so, like, universal, I guess, until I did my research, and I was like, oh, okay, like, we literally have, like, a bit about a Greek guy that I've never heard of before, who he uses it to go to hell, and then we have, like, all these different infertility things that people use it for, and then we have people, an indigenous group in Japan that I didn't know about, as well as Welsh farmers who used it to help with their crops. It's making its rounds.
Do you think that the guy who used it to go to hell was just like eating the berries from it and he was hallucinating so hard that he thought he was going to hell?
I kind of wonder.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, he's like,
that's crazy.
This plant took me to hell, and everybody's like, oh my god, he went to hell.
That's so fucking crazy.
That's so crazy. Or maybe he even just said something like, man, these berries taste like hell, and they're like, oh, he used the plant to go to hell.
How scandalous.
How scandalous.
He was on the devil's doorstep all along.
He went trick-or-treating at the devil's house and lived to tell the tale. That's what I would assume is a near-death experience, actually.
You know what? I would love to have that kind of near-death experience.
I feel like it would be more entertaining than some of the ones we read about.
For sure.
Right? So then, in Christian tradition, it is believed that mistletoe was once a fruit that furnished the wood of the cross of which Jesus was crucified. Then the plant withered and became a parasitic vine as punishment, which, as somebody who grew up Catholic, that's the first I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, I always thought it was like thorns.
Yeah. Well, because he had a crown of thorns and then he was nailed to the cross. But apparently people say that mistletoe was once a part of the tree that became the cross that helped Jesus. And then as punishment from God, that's when it became a parasitic plant. Oh.
Yeah, I've literally never heard that before.
Me either. That's why I was like, as somebody who grew up with me in the church community, does that ring a bell for you? It didn't for me.
Yeah, I definitely didn't hear that one, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention. That's a very possible.
True, actually. Yeah. So that's the brief part of the history. So then next I'm going to just talk about quickly about the why we kiss specifically under the mistletoe.
Ooh, do tell.
So, it's not known for sure why the custom of kissing under the mistletoe took off, but there is a possibility that it does come from Norse mythology, which, like I said earlier, it was going to tie in a little bit this episode for me. So, this might be familiar, but there was once a man named Odin who was married to a woman named Frigg. Together, they had a son named Balder. Frigg loved Balder very much, and was distressed when she found out that it was prophesied that he would one day perish. So in desperation, Frigg visited all the plants and animals in the natural world and made them vow that they would never harm Balder. However, in haste, she failed to obtain a vow from one plant in particular, the mistletoe. So, the antagonist in the tale, Loki, learned of this oversight and made an arrow from mistletoe, and then set off to kill the otherwise invincible Balder. In some versions of the tale, he is resurrected, and Frigg, the goddess of love, said she would kiss anybody who passed beneath it to show that it was a symbol of love, not hate. In another tale, the hero of Aenid himself held this belief too, as he brought a bough, which was thought to be mistletoe, as a symbol of vitality to the underworld, which is a little throwback to the history I gave you earlier. So, yeah. The first modern reference to kissing your partner under the mistletoe comes from the Song of Two, or the Song 2 for 1, which was published in 1784. Washington Irvine is responsible for the what is happening to me today? Popularization of kissing under the mistletoe in the United States. So fast forward a century, and we come across
You're gonna make it through, I promise.
I'm so close. Fast forward a century, and we come upon the British, which is sometimes not great. But in this situation, it was in the 18th and 19th century.
In most situations, it's not great for other people.
Yeah, come across the British. Oh, no. And this was in the 18th and 19th century, who they then started to hang mistletoe in their homes to celebrate the coming of Christmas. So then in Irving's collection of essays, the sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon, he wrote about Christmas traditions he observed in a cottagecore style home in the English countryside.
Wait. Hold on one second. Joffrey Crayon? Is that the inventor of the crayon?
I wish I had that thought when I was looking at my notes. I just read that and I was like, haha, like crayons? He very well could be the inventor of crayon, for all I know.
Keep going. I'll look it up.
But yes, the book, though, was called The Sketchbook of Joffrey Crayon, and then Joffrey spelled like Geof. Frey, and then literal crayon. So then he describes this cottagecore English home that he saw, and he says, the mistletoe is still hung up in farmhouses and kitchens at Christmas, and the young men have the privilege of kissing girls under it, plucking each time a berry from the bush. When all the berries are all plucked, the privilege ceases. And then, although it does sound like a lovely history, if we dig a bit deeper than that kind of stuff, it does start to get a little bit sour. Do you have an answer yet on Mr. Crayon?
I don't know if he had anything to do with it, but the inventor of the Crayola crayons were invented in 1903 by cousins Edward Binney and C. Harold Smith.
Oh, weird. And there just happens to be a guy walking around with the last name Crayon?
Yeah, maybe he was their bestie. Who fucking knows? But it was in the U.S.
Nah.
Oh, wait. Maybe not. I don't know. I could be making that up. I actually just made that up. I have no idea where they're from.
That's fine. I'll keep going into the dark underbelly of mistletoe.
Amazing. Now we've taken our side route around the intrusive
break.
thought I had.
Yeah. Mistletoes, as we've discussed, are hemiphytic parasitic plants. They obtain their water, nutrients, minerals from the plants that they're attached to, because being a parasite means that they steal all that stuff from another living being.
How rude of them.
It is very rude. They're considered hemiparasitic, though, because they are able to produce their own food. They just prefer to eat on other plants.
That is so rude.
So mistletoe is extremely well evolved to prey upon and kill many species of trees. Mistletoe attacks probably 105 species of trees in the United States alone. It's truly dark that a plant that can produce 98% of its own food destroys trees the way that mistletoe does. But it is said that a big part of this reason is because even though it can make its own food, specifically water and nutrients, are what it takes from its host plants. So it's thought that it doesn't produce it, or it doesn't produce as much of it as it needs. So eating the berries of some species of mistletoe plant can also lead to illness or, in some cases, death. Yet the duality of mistletoe is shown in other species, as it's used to treat a range of ailments from leprosy to infertility, epilepsy, and even cancer. Despite its dark side...
Wait. So the guy who went to hell, maybe it was literal. Maybe he ate the berries, died, and people are just like, yep, he's going to hell. He ain't got a round-trip ticket.
Pretty much. Well, that's what I was wondering, especially when you said, like, hallucination. I was like, I don't know, hallucination, near-death experience. Like, if he's eating these berries, he could have thought he saw lots of things. The Grim Reaper.
He just died, and people are like, he took a trip to hell.
Yeah,
and he didn't come back.
They're like, he went to hell. He told us. He ate the berries, and he went to hell. This is what we know.
The end. Okay, move on.
Yeah. So they are toxic. So if you have mistletoe, please, for the love of God, even if you think they might be safe, because it does sound like it's only like certain varieties that have poisonous berries, I just wouldn't chance it, personally.
Yeah, it's like wild mushrooms. I would never be brave enough to go out foraging for myself, because I would definitely pick the wrong one and die.
Same. And then it wouldn't even be a good mushroom. Like, I'd eat a mushroom that tastes like dog shit, and then I would die.
Yeah, and I'd be like, wow, great. I'm taking a trip to hell.
And now I'm in hell. Oh, hey, Aeneas. Wait, I'm gonna go back to his name to make sure I'm saying it correctly. Aenid. Oh, hey, Aenid. Fancy seeing you here. I heard that you used mistletoe to go to hell. And he's like, yeah, I ate the berries and now I'm in hell. Like, that is what I said.
End of story. Like, why are you so hung up on this?
Right? So then, despite its dark side, mistletoe carries extreme ecological importance, so much that it's considered a keystone species, a vital member of many forests that promote biodiversity, and it plays a role in woodland renewal. So the next time you come across mistletoe, whether it be hanging above the threshold in your home or crawling up the trunk of a tree in your yard, think about mistletoe as the duality between light and dark. Ooh.
Ooh.
And that is my story about the history of mistletoe.
Incredible. I loved it. Every moment of it.
I'm happy. I'm glad that we all had fun. I apparently couldn't pronounce English words anymore, but beyond that, it was pretty good.
You know what? I can't pronounce anything, so it's fine. So let me get into my story, but I'm going to preface with, I know it's a bit of a stretch for our topic, but I like I said, I struggled so much to find a mistletoe crime. So here's where we are at.
Okay.
One of many famous singers who has sung a song about mistletoes. This is a Canadian artist. Any guesses?
I'm definitely not the right person for this question, but I'm going to give it a shot. A Canadian artist that sings about mistletoes.
Yes, they have a song about mistletoes.
Justin Bieber?
Correct!
Wait, is that real?
Yes!
Literally the only thing that popped into my head when you said Canadian singer who sings about mistletoes, all I thought about was his one song where it's like, I'll be under the mistletoe with you, shorty.
Yeah,
with
that's
you,
the song
with
we're
you.
talking about today.
That is so funny. I thought you were going to come out with like some singer from the 40s that like sung a song about mistletoe, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
So, today we're going to talk about Justin Drew Bieber, who was born on March 1st. 1994 at St. Joseph's Hospital in London, Ontario. And he was raised in Stratford, Ontario. He is the son of Jeremy Jack Bieber and Patty Millett, who were both 18 when Justin was born and split up not long after his birth. Patty worked a series of low-paying office jobs, raising Justin as a single mother in low-income housing. Patty's mother, Diane, and stepfather, Bruce, helped her raise Justin as well. However, Justin did maintain a relationship with his father. He has 3 younger half-siblings, the 4 of which have the same father, Jeremy. Jeremy and his ex-girlfriend, Erin Wagner, broke up in 2014 after 7 years together and have 2 children, Jasmine and Jackson. Jeremy married his new girlfriend, Chelsea, in February 2018, and they have a daughter named Bay. And Justin also has a stepsister named Allie, which is the daughter of his stepmother. So, growing up, he learned to play the piano, drums, guitar, and trumpet. In early 2007, at the age of 12, Justin sang Neo's So Sick for a local singing competition in Stratford, and was placed second place. Patty posted a video of the performance on YouTube for their family and friends to see, and she continued to upload videos of Justin singing covers of various R&B songs, and Justin's popularity grew on the site. And the rest is kind of history. Obviously, there's a lot more to his rise to fame, but that's not what we're talking about today.
I was going to say, do you want to talk quickly about where we, like you and I, were at in our lives when Justin Bieber got popular? Because it's something that my younger siblings find very entertaining. I always tell them about how I was in, I'm not sure about you, but I was in home ec class with some of our friends at the time in like, I think 7th grade or 8th grade.
Yeah.
And one of the girls was like, there's this guy and nobody knows who he is, but he is really hot and I'm obsessed with his music. And she like put it up, and I just remember seeing, it was a YouTube video, but it wasn't him singing in it. It was just like the cover art of the album, and it was him in like a purple zipped up hoodie with like his little swoopy hair, and it was like I think it was the song I'm pretty sure the song I was showed was One Less. No, it was I'ma Tell You One Time. That was it. And the song playing was I Would Tell You One Time. And I just remember thinking about it at the time, and I was like, I don't know why everybody thinks he's hot. Obviously, as a grown adult, I realized that I have a very different type of taste when it comes to men, and that's probably why I didn't think he was cute. But like, I just remember people
also
being
didn't see the appeal
with
though.
him. Yeah.
I know. People were so obsessed with him. And I remember, I feel like the first song I heard was Baby, and I had a friend who was obsessed with him also, and I remember she showed me his YouTube videos, and I just like did not get the hype at all. Like,
yeah, no,
I was like, this kid's kind of ugly. Like, I just don't like his hair. Like, I don't like anything about him.
His face was so weird, and you couldn't even see his eyes, and I was like, what's happening here? But it's like he had like an emo haircut with like a straight boy hair color. Like, it was very weird for me. And then yeah, it was like,
I remember
and One
your
Less Lonely
dad.
Girl. What did my dad do?
I remember your dad when Justin Bieber first became popular. I went over to your house, and he's like, who is this little girl on the radio?
I remember that because there was a different song of his that got popular too that came on in the car once. And I don't know if you were with me for that one, but he's like, oh man, there's just so many women singing on the radio now. And I was like, Dad, this is Justin Bieber again.
I know. And I feel like so many parents and like people in general, like that was like the critique. They're like, oh, he sounds like a girl when he sings. And that's like, looking back with like 2023 vision, I'm like, that's a weird critique. Like, he's a prepubescent boy. Like, yeah, his voice was high pitched.
This is why though, when people say things to me where it's like a weird like critique of people right now, I'm like, but are you saying that because you think that, or are you saying it because you heard somebody else say that? You know what I mean?
Right. I know.
And
it wasn't just
with 2023,
your dad. Like, there were so many people who said that, you know?
Mm-hmm. But you're right. With 2023 vision, I also look back and I'm like, he just sounds like a young dude. Like, I don't know. He doesn't sound that different than the Walmart kid who got popular, because his voice was also high at the time, but he was also like 12.
Yeah, the yodeling kid.
Yeah, all I wanna do. But yeah, no, I remember that because it was like One Less Lonely Girl, I'ma Tell You One Time, and Baby. Those were the 3 songs that came out that year that people lost their friggin' minds over.
It was crazy. And then I feel like One Direction wasn't that far behind.
One Direction for us was more like high school, though.
Yeah, I guess. But, like, I don't know. In my head, like, looking back, like, I'm sure there was, like, years in between. But they kind of, like, grouped together. I'm like, wow. Like, I feel like boy fandom used to be so much bigger. And maybe it was because we were in high school and, like, it was more prevalent. But now I'm like, I just feel like besides, like, BTS, there's not, like, any huge boy bands or, like, male singers. Like, I feel like right now, female singers are dominating.
I know we're like on a super like like deviation from this, but I read an article about that, like specifically about the reason why there's no boy bands like to that extent today. And they don't just trace it to like well, Biebers was never a boy band, but like One Direction and them, they actually start with NSYNC. And they say that the reason that you don't see as many Americanized, or I guess One Direction was European or whatever, but as like those groups, so there's like what, NSYNC, One Direction, Seconds of Summer, like what was that other band?
5 Seconds of Summer.
5 Seconds of Summer. Those types of groups, is just that it's not really a part of the industry anymore. People, it's not as much of a buy-into thing. However, people who do really like boy bands and boy band culture now all are in with the K-pop and the J-pop and the C-pop area of the world, because there's lots of girl groups and boy groups. There's not as many solo artists.
Yeah, like, I know BTS is huge, and, like, so, like, there is there, but, like, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Tangent, completely unrelated to mistletoes, but, we had to go there.
That's fine. All right, what did let's hear more about Biebers.
All right, so on November 1st, 2011, Justin released his second studio album, the Christmas-themed album called Under the Mistletoe. It became It became the first Christmas album by a male artist to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and sold 210,000 copies in its first week of release. On November 19th, 2021, the album was listed among the greatest of all time holiday albums chart by Billboard. The first single on the album, Mistletoe, peaked at number 1 on the US Billboard Holiday 100 and Holiday Digital Song charts. Justin released All I Want for Christmas Is You, in quotes, super festive, as the second single from the album, which is a re-recorded version of Mariah Carey's original song All I Want for Christmas Is You, with Mariah providing vocals on the track. Billboard listed the album and its singles among the greatest holiday albums and songs of all time, respectively. So I'm guessing by this point you're all wondering what the crime element to all of this is. Well, our pal Justin had several run-ins with the law around the world before his first arrest in 2014, including when he was accused of reckless driving in his neighborhood in 2012 and charged in Brazil with vandalism in 2013. One of his neighbors in Calabasas, California, accused Justin of throwing eggs at his home on January 9th, 2014, and causing thousands of dollars of damage. On January 23rd, 2014, Justin was arrested in Miami Beach, Florida, together with singer Khalil, on suspicion of driving under the influence and driving with an over 6-month expired license and resisting arrest without violence. Police said that Justin told authorities he had consumed alcohol, smoked marijuana, and taken prescription drugs. He was released from these charges on a $2,500 bond. A toxicology report revealed that Justin had THC and Xanax in his system at the time of his arrest. In January 2021, he reflected on this event, describing it as, quote, not his finest hour, and encouraged fans to, quote, let the forgiveness of Jesus take over and watch your life blossom into all that God has designed you to be.
Jesus?
Which is a fucking crazy...
Why is he Jesus into this?
Like,
Jesus
my guy.
is sitting there in heaven and he's like, whoa, like, don't bring me into this.
You're the one who took the Xanax. Like, leave me out of it.
So funny. Okay.
So following Justin's arrest on the DUI charge, more than 270,000 people petitioned the White House seeking to have him deported from the U.S. Although the number of signatures received was sufficient to require a response under published White House guidelines, the Obama administration declined substantive comment on the petition. Immigration law expert Harlan York noted that the likelihood of Justin being deported was extremely slim. Harlan stated, quote, about a decade ago, the Supreme Court ruled that driving under the influence typically is not basis to deport someone. But I find it hilarious that 270,000 people in the U.S. were like, deport him. He needs to go. He's gotta go.
How bad has it gotta be that you have that many people who are like, you need to leave?
Get out of my country. Well, it's the U.S. Doesn't surprise me.
But I'm not totally surprised, though, that the official ruling was like, well, we don't just deport people for DUIs, so...
They're like, there's still laws, people. We gotta follow the laws.
To follow the laws, definitely, but I would not take it to the degree of just deporting people willy-nilly either.
Exactly. In April 2013, Justin was criticized for writing a message in the guest book at the Anne Frank House, which read, quote, truly inspiring to be able to come here. Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a believer. Which, honestly, I quote that probably way too much because that's so funny that he had the gall to say, I hope she would have been a believer. Like, sorry?
That is unbelievable. I can't. That's a real thing he did?
It's a real thing. It's real. I remember when it happened and I was like, oh man, that's peak comedy gold.
I feel so bad for laughing, but that's so fucking funny. I can't believe that.
so insensitive. But it's also really funny.
But that's the funny part. It's unbelievable. Like if you told me this before you shared it as a literal story on this podcast, and you were like, "Hey Emily, guess what? Justin Bieber went and wrote this in the Anne Frank guest book," I'd be like, "Yeah, you're lying." Like that's
like,
just
why?
not something that happens.
Who would do such a thing? I have no words. I genuinely.
I would be like, there ain't no way he's that dumb. And then you'd have to tell me the story, and I'd have to be like, apparently he is that dumb, actually.
Truly. So after the message was posted on the museum's Facebook page, Justin received widespread criticism on social media for perceived insensitivity and narcissism. The Anne Frank house did defend Justin, stating, quote, "He's 19. It's a crazy life he's living. He didn't mean bad. He was very interested in the story of Anne Frank and stayed for over an hour. We hope that his visit will inspire his fans to learn more about her life and hopefully read the diary." Which, honestly, they're way nicer about this than I ever would have been. I would have been roasting him right alongside them. Everyone, you know?
I think, to be honest, I kind of understand what they're saying. Like, they're saying he's literally a kid, kind of, who has been somewhat brainwashed by the world into believing that he's, like, this certain entity, and for him to be interested in Anne Frank's story and say that she's a believer is, like, his way of, like...
Yeah.
It's his like, way of, like, appreciating her story, which... Okay?
Super narcissistic. But I do kind of get the logic where he's like, wow, she's so cool. Like, she obviously would have loved me. Which...
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anyways, so on July 9th, 2014, Justin was charged with one misdemeanor count of vandalism in California for throwing eggs at his Calabasas neighbor's home in January. Police either claimed that they had video footage of him high-fiving friends after the eggs were thrown. With him pleading no contest to the charge, the LA County Superior Court sentenced him on July 9th to pay $80,900 in restitution, serve 2 years probation, complete 12 weeks of anger management, and 5 days of community service in what the district attorney termed a negotiated settlement. Since then, he has permanently moved to Beverly Hills. So they freaking ousted him out of the neighborhood.
Okay. But, like, was all that for just the throwing eggs, or was there something else that I missed?
No, the $80,000 and, like, all that was just for throwing eggs at his neighbor's house.
I can't believe a judge passed on that, and they were like, yeah, this $12 carton of eggs, you have to pay $80,000 and do community service and restitution? That's insane.
Well, I mean, they probably have really expensive siding on their house, and, like, the sun probably baked those fucking eggs in and might have peeled off the paint, is my guess, and they had to, like, re-side their whole house.
Oh, maybe. I guess. Seems like a lot. This is why you just don't egg people's house, guys. Like, just keep your eggs in your
It's fridge. Not worth it.
It's not worth it. Poach them if you want to be creative with them.
Devil egg someone's car.
Devil your eggs. That's what you do. Instead of egging somebody's house, you make them deviled eggs and leave them on their front doorstep.
Exactly. Don't refrigerate them. It'll smell terrible.
How devious.
Truly. So, on August 13th, yes, on August 13th, 2014, the January DUI case was settled with a plea bargain. Justin pled guilty to resisting an officer without violence and a lesser charge of driving without due care and attention, which is crazy considering he was popping Xanax, marijuana, and alcohol and then driving.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
So he was fined $500 in US and sentenced to attend a 12-hour anger management course and a program that teaches the impact of drunken driving on victims. As part of the plea bargain, he made a $50,000 US contribution to Our Kids, which was a local children's charity. And kind of what I'm gathering from this is a lot of the judges in these different cases are sentencing him to anger management. So I feel like there is something there.
Yeah, that seems to be a weirdly consistent thing. Also, you know what's funny with being a grown adult Canadian and hearing this now? He kind of just sounds like your average asshole, like, guy from Toronto.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Like, he 100% does. Like, just even from people I know who've, like, dated guys from Toronto or the stories you hear or whatever, he just sounds like an asshole guy from Toronto.
Sorry to any Toronto people listening, but
Fine,
yeah,
Ontario,
I'm gonna have to agree.
If you want to broaden your... if you want to broaden the field. But, like, for sure, though, like, East Coast Canadian douchebaggery.
Very much so. On September 1st, 2014, Justin was arrested and charged with assault and dangerous driving near his hometown of Stratford, Ontario, after a collision between a minivan and Justin's all-terrain vehicle on August 29th. Ontario police said that he then engaged in a physical altercation with the occupant of the minivan. He was released shortly, and his lawyer blamed the incident on the unwelcome presence of paparazzi. On September 8th, Toronto dropped an assault charge against him, originally brought up on January 29th for an incident with a limousine driver in December 2013. In November 2014, he was ordered to appear in Argentina within 60 days by Buenos Aires court to give testimony on an alleged assault on a photographer on November 9th, 2013. When he failed to do so, an arrest warrant was issued and 2 of his bodyguards were released in Argentina in April 2015. In June 2014, a video emerged of a 15-year-old Justin Bieber telling a joke about people of color, which used the N-word multiple times. In the same month, a second video surfaced showing, again, 15-year-old Justin giggling as he sang his song One Less Lonely Girl, but parodying the main lyrics as One Less Lonely N-word. Which, oof, that's not good.
Not good, and also, again, that's a weird thing to do.
Very weird. And equally as weird, he stated that if he were to kill one, he would be part of the KKK. Which...
What is happening?
Yikes. I'm sorry, but like...
So what we've learned is that he's got some hidden anger management problems, and also
and
is
racism.
Very disillusioned about, people of color and just overall racist ideologies.
And he thinks that Anne Frank would have been a believer.
And Anne Frank is a believer, yep.
So he apologized the day, and the latter was released. Facing my mistakes from years ago has been one of the hardest things I've ever dealt with, which just feels like not an adequate apology, but apparently it was good enough for people to forget about it. So there's that for you.
Yeah, it seems like when you're just an attractive white guy, people tend to be a little bit more forgiving, but...
Pretty much. In January 2017, the Chinese government banned Justin from performing in China. A fan contacted the Beijing Municipal Bureau of Culture requesting the reason for the ban. The bureau released a statement explaining, quote, Justin Bieber is a gifted singer, but he is also a controversial young foreign singer. And in order to maintain the Chinese market and purify the Chinese performance environment, it is not suitable to bring in badly behaved entertainers. Which, that's so funny that they're like, yeah, he's just kind of annoying and a bad influence.
They talk like they're the parents and their kid invited the troubled kid from school for a sleepover. Is what that sounds like.
Like, nah, we got enough problems. We don't need you imitating that shit.
Yeah, we don't need to have people who garner trouble causing issues in our country. That's funny.
In June 2020, Justin was accused of sexual assault. No one by the name of Danielle, which is a pseudonym, who claimed on Twitter that the singer had engaged in non-consensual sexual acts at a Four Seasons hotel in Austin, Texas in March 2014, while he was with then-girlfriend Selena Gomez. In a series of tweets, Justin denied all allegations, stating the sexual abuse is something I don't take lightly, and provided evidence that he was not at the Four Seasons at the time of the alleged incident. So it seems like, allegedly, that didn't happen. But
there's not any corroborating evidence, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was suing the women who made those allegations, but he ended up dropping the defamation suit, so not really sure what's happening there. As Justin resides in the United States, he is reported to process an O-1 visa for temporary resident status based on, quote, extraordinary ability or achievement in a field. Justin has said that he is not interested in attaining U.S. citizenship and has praised Canada as being, quote, the best country in the world, citing its mostly government-funded healthcare system as a model example. However, and this is one of my favorite online conspiracy theories, in September 2018, TMZ reported that Justin had begun the process of becoming an American citizen, following his marriage to Hailey Baldwin, and he owns a $26 million home in Beverly Hills, as well as a lakeside home in Ontario. So to kind of wrap it up, I'm going to tell you about the conspiracy theory because, like I said, I love it.
I'm intrigued, and I'm also suspicious, because I'm wondering if this is the same one that I heard.
So basically the conspiracy theory is that Justin only married Hailey for citizenship because of his criminal record.
Yep, that's the one I heard too. And that he was being threatened to be deported or something was a part of it as well, and he had to obtain certain credentials by a certain date or something, because apparently you're probably going to get into it. I guess there's a weird turnaround on the relationship and other weird things, so I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so Justin, who's a green card holder, legally married Hailey at a New York courthouse in September 2018, a year before their official wedding party, and reportedly began applying for citizenship shortly after. The wedding seemed rushed to a lot of people because Justin had just ended an 8-year on-again, off-again relationship with Selena Gomez. The whole relationship history is kind of complicated, but basically Justin had been bouncing between Hailey and Selena since 2016. Like, he would literally date one of them, they'd break up, and then he'd go back to the other one.
Yeah, that's gross.
Days after Hailey and Justin were photographed at the courthouse reciting their nuptials, TMZ reported that Justin was applying to become a U.S. citizen. He allegedly applied for dual citizenship, meaning that he'd keep his Canadian citizenship while also receiving the American citizenship. The process can be lengthy, so there isn't like a ton of official updates on whether or not he secured his U.S. passport. I'm not really sure. Mm-hmm. But as a green card holder, Justin was eligible to apply for citizenship after 5 years of living in the U.S., with or without Hailey. Marrying a U.S. citizen can entitle non-citizens to a green card if they didn't already have one, and green card holders can apply for citizenship after 3 years if they're applying as the spouse of a citizen. So it's not likely that Justin needed to marry Hailey just to secure his citizenship, but that hasn't stopped fans from guessing. People who are suspicious of Hailey and Justin's rush to the altar believe that their marriage was arranged so that Justin could get citizenship, as fans have been implying on TikTok. People online claim that Justin dropped hints in one of the songs with Drake, and in the verse, Justin sings, "Look, Ariana Selena, my visa, it can take as many charges as it needs to, my girl." Which is suspicious, like he's referring to Hailey as my visa.
Yeah.
It's weird. It is weird.
I didn't know about that part. So that's interesting.
A lot of fans' claims are based on misinformation about the citizenship process. Fans have been wrongfully suggesting that Justin was required to stay married to Hailey for 5 years in order to secure his place in the U.S. I think like it's like just their 5-year marriage anniversary now, like in 2023. So I think a lot of people were like, are they going to divorce this year?
Yeah, like what's the going on?
But nothing yet. So despite the calls from the public, Justin was never at risk of facing deportation back in 2014. Deportation for legal immigrants only occurs if someone is charged an aggravated felony or a crime of moral turpitude. So, yeah. I don't think the conspiracy theory is real, but, like, I kind of want to believe it is, you know?
Yeah, I would say that here's the thing, though, about a good conspiracy theory. They can always be half true is the other thing.
Yeah, and I feel like there is something to it. Like, maybe he was worried about, not getting citizenship, so he's like, I'll marry Haley for security.
Yeah, well, and there's also some weird things, too. Like, I know, obviously, the internet and paparazzi, or whatever you want to call it, like to conflate things to be more than what they are. But I will say, as far as, like, couple behavior goes, they do seem to publicly behave in kind of, like, a weird way, the two of them. So I would be suspicious anyways of I don't think it's entirely the truth that he's marrying her out of love. I imagine there's probably another reason, and it could be citizenship, but it could also be something else.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably some other reason that we just don't know about, and, like, there's something there, you know? Like, it just seems off enough where you're kind of like, why?
Yeah. Well, I did see, like, another conspiracy theory, which I don't really know how... I personally don't buy into it. But somebody was saying online that they think that the entire marriage could be a stunt in some way to cover up maybe one of them being married to somebody else and wanting to keep it private or something.
That's an interesting theory. I have not heard that one, but yeah. I'm intrigued, and I will look it up right after we record
and you're
this.
Like, and I will be back to talk about it more.
Catch me later with updates.
Right? But yeah, I believe that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you liked it, please make sure to leave us a review. You can also check us out on our social media, which is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Wheel of Crime. We have a website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com. We also have Patreon if you want to donate to the show, which is at Wheel of Crime on Patreon. And we have an email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. And we do keep our listener story for Google form open on our social media if you want to look there and upload maybe a story of your own about some stuff that you know. Or if you just want to chat, you can always send us an email. We love hearing from you guys.
Absolutely. And now for the final time of the year, we're going to spin for our next, for our topic for next week with the next famous Christmas lyric. So spin away, Em. And it is, drumroll please, Magic in that old silk hat.
Ooh.
How fancy.
This is very fancy. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, but I guess that's for us to find out next week.
Yeah. Can't wait to figure it out.
Oh,
hopefully I won't have to skirt around things as much as I did this week.
But maybe. We'll see what happens.
But maybe. Alright, well, that's it. That's all. And we'll see you next week for another new episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.